Dan, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you guys?
We are good, but we are in this court case been going on now in a bye week.
Man,
and you are part of the defense team.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. It's an intense one right now. I've got plenty of evidence, though.
Oh, you do, huh? I was going to say, so you got the opening.
Present it to the jury.
Yeah, we're guessing that the first witness is Matt Patricia, seeing that he is the offensive line coach and the offensive coordinator. But I guess make your case. I think we all identify the O-line, the play calling as an issue. Is it more than that, or you think it all falls on that?
No, a lot of it starts with that. I mean, when the head coach comes out, and I know Coach Belichick says things, but when he comes out and says that the middle linebacker for the opposing team, it felt like he knows the plays. I mean, that's something, and people can sit there and say, well, he's just trying to love on C.J. Mosley, but he often loves on guys before they play rather than after. And there's a truth to what he's saying as well. I mean, there's evidence to sitting there watching how many times on 1st and 10 with two tight ends on the field and condensed split wide receivers can we run stick route to start a possession. So, there's a lot of predictability. And even then, to take it to the next level, there's not a lot of unknown coming from this offense. I posted that clip on social media yesterday, and there's been a lot of reaction to it from fans. And I'd like to address, a couple parts of it, if I can. So, first of all, the point of the clip was to point out how poor the spacing is on that route. And if Twitter would let me post 10 minutes of video, I would. The second point is this, when everyone keeps going to, well, there's a guy wide open standing there. So everyone understands, and this is a little bit of my background and knowing how a lot of offense is installed plays. This isn't 100%. I know exactly how the Patriots are teaching this, but a lot of plays start with man zone or middle field open, middle field close. What I mean by that is hey, Mac, if you get man, you're working this side of the field. If you work in zone, you get this side of the field. Or if you get middle field close, meaning one safety in the field, you're going to work this side. If you get middle field open, you'll work that side. Now, the play that they have called is often a middle field open, middle field closed play. If it was middle field open and two safeties, he would work to that area where a lot of people are going, there's a wide open person at the 20-yard line. He just never looks at him. And if it's middle field close, which is what they got at the snap of the ball and safety rotating from the field, he would work X to the tailback. And so the point is saying awful spacing. The receiver's not looking for the ball. Mac is sitting there going, dude, one of you guys get open. And the people that he at least certainly feels like he's looking at are not even looking for the ball and or getting open. Mm-hmm. That's the point of the clip. And there's a lot of that on that tape.
So, Dan, let me ask you this, because I would say, the prosecution would make a case that, the offensive line is bad. But I saw this stat, I think it was Barnwell had it, that Mac Jones in the quick game, right, when he gets rid of the ball 2.5 seconds or less, his QBR is 16.8, worst in the league. So is there an issue pre-snap identifying where to go to the ball, where to go with the ball right away? Is he not reading the defenses the way maybe we're accustomed to?
No, because their quick game is the same thing. It's 1st and 10 of the possession, and they're running condensed split stick. That's mostly what their quick game is. They don't have much other quick game than that. They'll occasionally throw a slant in there, but their quick game is not like this. And listen, quick game isn't this exotic thing as well. But not only is their quick game and the play selection mundane and repetitive, the situation when they're calling quick game is mundane and repetitive as well. These teams, they have all these studies, and they realize, when New England comes out to start a possession, they want to call this stick route. And so there's a lot of that. There's a QBR that the stats tell one thing, but when you're watching the tape and I'm sitting there going, here, I know what the play is. I got a pretty darn good feel. That's part of the struggle of it as well.
So, Counselor, did you hear what Mac Jones said post game after the last game when he referred to still images as false reality? Did you happen to see the answer to that?
No. Can you fill me in?
No. Well, he mentioned exactly what you're talking about. He goes where his eyes take him. Yeah. So, to the All-22 crew that is trying to find cause in his play, I think that was a snarky way of him saying just that. Hey guys, I'm doing what I'm told, right? I guess that would be the way, because when you go on a sideline after a series, what value is the still images, the tablets? How much do you use those?
Yeah, I think there's pretty good understanding of what they're trying to do to you. Hey, you know what, we might have thought the field safety was going to tell us a lot, but check the boundary guy out. Or when that corner's off, he's actually trying to have vision to you so we can double. So you're trying to get, how they're not only playing things from a scheme point, but playing things from what are guys doing, and somewhat try to gather information. Hey, we got into this formation and we gave them this action and see how the safety reacted. So if we get back to this and they give us that same look pre-snap, let's try to get to this, so that's where you're trying to gather what they're doing and then trying to build your play calls off of that. So there's a lot to that. I think Mac is in this moment right here, because let me be very clear for people listening. Mac Jones is absolutely regressing. There's no question about that. So then everybody has to answer this one question. Well, why? Is Mac Jones regressing because it's Mac Jones? Or is Mac Jones regressing because of all the variables that are attached to quarterback's performance are so poor? And I asked this question to Pat McAfee today when I was on the show. Give me the last quarterback that had really good coaching and was healthy and regressed. I can think of one. Okay?
Who is it?
Jared Goff for the Los Angeles Rams. Mm-hmm. When he's playing at such a high level, and then all of a sudden, now Jared's still playing good football. He's just not playing at that ridiculously high level that he did for that Super Bowl year. And I look at Mac, and last year, Mac was this guy that always knew he was reading the defense. Mac was reading the defense. He was connecting the dots of the defense. Right now, Mac is looking at a guy hoping he wins. That's often the case. And you mean to tell me that the quarterback that was taken in the first round and was good as rookie year, who isn't overly athletic and who doesn't have a powerful arm, can't think anymore? That's what we're going to talk about, folks? That's really, fans, that's what you're going to hang your hat on? Is that the kid can't process anymore? When coming out, that's what he did as a superpower? Come on.
I want to go back to something you said.
Good defense counselor.
Yeah, excellent job. You should just chill.
At the very beginning of this conversation, we're talking to Dan Orlovsky from ESPN. So, Dan, you mentioned those comments that Bill Belichick said yesterday about Shaq Leonard calling out, what the offense is doing. Wasn't it unusual for Bill to say that? And what do you think, just from who you know in the league and your time in the league, what is the reason that Bill would be so, I guess, casual about putting that out there?
Yeah, I don't recall him ever doing that. And I don't recall another coach really talking about it in that regards. Again, Coach Belichick is notorious for praising guys and their abilities and their performances before games. He goes into games and loves on the team. And you could look at it one of two ways. One, that post-game he's just loving on Shaq, and saying how, inferring how great of a player he is, or he's being very candid and saying on offense, they know our plays, or they've got a pretty good understanding of our plays, and we need to vary. I don't candidly, my thought is that, that Coach Belichick usually doesn't speak like that. You guys know him far better than I do, at least being around a ton, but it's not normal for a coach to come out and kind of imply that, offensively we are handicapping our players because the defense has a pretty good inkling of what we're trying to do.
We're talking to Dan Orlovsky, ESPN. Dan, you were talking about, obviously Mac Jones and the struggles and the offensive line, the coaching staff. So Matt Patricia is the O-line coach. He's the offensive coordinator. So I would ask you, just based on coaching and O-line, is this something after the bye, last 8 games, that can be fixed? I think it can be fixed, yes, but I also believe that you have to have the people that are understanding of how to fix it. And I've said this since March. I haven't been on board with this play calling selection. I just haven't. I've always felt like this is going to end very poorly for New England offensively. And there was that 2-week stretch where I was sitting there going, okay, when Zappe was playing and they played against the Lions and the Browns, that now that we have more information on those defenses, you look and go, okay, a lot of teams should be successful against those offenses. And there was that stretch where I was like, oh, man, they're being so dominant in their internal run game, and the play-action pass has been such a good job, and Jacoby's winning, but they've gotten away from that. They don't really do that much anymore. So, and I've talked about that. So to fix it, yes, there's a lot to fix, though. Mm-hmm. I think the timing of their pass game is so out of whack. And I'm going to do some stuff on this on NFL Live next week since they have the bye this week. The timing of their pass game is so out of whack. That's it.
that's a big thing that stands out for me outside of I've talked about, they're not a drop back protection unit. Okay. Like the Patriots offensive line cannot block drop back pass consistently. So if they don't live in play action, they're hurting themselves. And then the timing of the pass game. Is the quarterback ready to throw the football, and are the receivers ready for the ball? Are the receivers getting out of their cuts and the quarterback waiting on them? Are the receivers, getting out of their cuts and the quarterback is already running with the ball? Like the marriage of that and the rhyme and the reason and the pace of the quarterback's drop and tying that all together, that's very much so out of whack.
All right, Dan Orlovsky, so we're going to put you on the stand yourself, right? Because the Colts may have an offensive coordinator job open for you. Kind of saw you kind of flirting around with that. Now that's Jeff Saturday is the interim head coach.
Yeah.
Any odds of you joining that staff this year, or maybe possibly joining at a later date?
Yeah, so not going to happen this year. Joining at a later date absolutely is an option. And I'm not trying to blow smoke or anything. Again, I've been outspoken about this. I've talked with Jeff a lot about football, a lot about coaching, my philosophy on it, kind of where I stand with my life. That's a very real thing. I've always said that I want to coach. I feel like I coach on television in a way. I'm just coaching the people who are watching the shows and the fans of football, and I try to kind of keep my mind into that world. The further you get away from playing, at least in my case, the greater the draw is to get pulled back in. Like when I got done playing in 2018, I didn't have this burning desire to go into coach. And now as the years go on and the days go on, you have that little bit greater itch to get back into it and be involved in it and kind of get your hands dirty, so to speak, within it. So I don't know what next year holds.
Would you be the offensive coordinator here?
If Mac Jones is there, I would.
You think you could work with Bill?
I don't know Coach Belichick enough to sit there and say yes or no. I think it's ignorant to sit there and go, you don't want to learn from the greatest coach ever. I know that that's not an easy thing. And
what have you heard about coaches? Sorry, what have you heard about coaches who coach underneath him? You think that are they happy?
We've heard it's a hard job.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. I think most of the NFL has heard that. So yeah, it's a hard job for sure. But I also think it's a job that you sit there and go, you have the opportunity to learn from the greatest ever. So, again, that's probably a long, long road away, but, I think at the right place at the right time, it's something that I'm very much so kind of interested in.
Dan, I'm curious because we were just talking about this Josh Allen situation up there, and I play baseball. I know all about Tommy John. And people wondering if he can play this weekend, even if it's a strain. Guys don't take them out 5 days later. They miss some time. So how concerned would you be of him maybe not just missing a week or two, but missing a lot, and how that would impact this division?
Yeah, I think you got to be concerned if you are Buffalo. One, because it's the second time he's had this injury, to my knowledge. Stephania Bell was on NFL Live with us yesterday, and she said he had it in 18 or something. So that's got to be concerning. The second thing is, dude's got an absolute cannon, and that's part of what makes him so special. We saw the 70-yard throw to end the game. So, that he's willing and able to rear back and rip it. And then kind of what does this do to his day-to-day? Can he practice? Is he one of those guys that can not practice much and still go play at a high level?
Yeah.
That's the questions you have. But they are a healthy team, or at least when they're healthy, they're a good team to support a backup quarterback. But if you're an organization that you've obviously gone all in this year with the people that they added to their team, and you believe you're going to be playing meaningful games in December and January, do you sit there and go, gosh, can we survive 3 weeks without him and maybe get to 1-2 in those 3 weeks at worst, and 2-1, with Case Keenum? If you do that, then you go, does that make you feel better about how he's going to perform? Yeah. Obviously, when the stakes are much higher. So I think you got to be cautious if you're Buffalo.
Well, thank you, Counselor. He is Dan Orlovsky.
This case is closed.
Yeah, he made a good
No
case.
doubt.
Made a good case. All right, Dan, listen, we appreciate talking to you every single Wednesday. Look forward to next week.
Later, guys. Be good.
All right, there it is.